so grateful for you to be taking your time to just pour into us and encourage us, build belief, teach us things. Like you are just such an inspiration. Okay, so Kaitlin and I, we met at where were we? Was it convention? Yeah,
Yeah.
in the hat line for the hat bar, and her and her husband came in all dolled up for the gold party, just drop dead gorgeous, powerhouse couple here. They both, she is building a leg with her husband, and both her and her husband's leg ranked up Sapphire in May. And it just is a really cool story. I'm gonna let her share, but I just love her heart. I love how she shares. She's so genuine, faith filled in everything she does. And they live in Florida, two sweet kiddos. I believe you've been with Plexus for 4 years and just have an amazing story. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Oh, thank you, Hannah. So good to be on. Thank you guys for all hopping on and taking time out of your Monday evening to be here. I'm honored, truly, and I think there's just so much power when we all come together to share our stories, to share our wins, our losses, because truly, if it were not for the beautiful community around me, I would not still standing. And I'm not just talking about my upline or even my team, but truly building beautiful relationships, even outside of your team. There's so much power in that because there were so many sideline sisters and so many friends that I made in Plexus that just carried me through some hard times. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that in my presentation. But I am a former elementary teacher, so I'm a visual learner and I do best with lots of visuals. So I love pictures, I love graphics, I love showing the actual journal pages when I'm talking about my journal entry. So I made a little PowerPoint presentation. I want to share that with you guys tonight. And the only bummer is I can't see all your faces when I'm talking and sharing, but feel free to unmute yourself at any time and ask questions or interrupt me because I don't want this to just be me up here on a soapbox talking. I want this to be an opportunity where you can ask me anything, unfiltered, raw, whatever it might be. So, I'm going to share my screen and get started.
Is it
Okay.
showing? Is it showing up? That'll
Yes.
do.
Can
Okay,
you guys see?
perfect.
Okay. Everyone can see. Okay. So this is a breakdown of becoming an empowered leader and an emboldened leader. And I'll give a little bit of a synopsis of where those two names came from and a little bit of my story. Because this whole chat and this whole slideshow that I have been building through my testimony has changed based on just hurts that I've overcome, blockages that I've overcome, mindset hurdles, and just life. So the breakdown that we're going to talk about tonight are the 7 C's, 7 ways to see success in your leadership. And you can see some of the C's we're going to talk about here. But before we go into, oh, I guess it missed my intro. Okay, it missed my intro, but Hannah already talked about how I've been in Plexus for 4 years. I am a Sapphire and my husband is a Sapphire. And I'll talk a little bit about why I made that decision to build a dual leg team, a dual income home, and just some of the challenges that come with that, but also some of the benefits. But the first C and the most important obstacle, hurdle, challenge is coming face to face with yourself in the mirror. And we'll go back to my very first convention. June of 2023, where this is the very first time I ever got on a plane by myself, booked a trip, flew by myself to a convention, and it was very scary, very uncomfortable. And here I am in my hotel room alone as a senior Ruby, feeling like, okay, I've made some headway in this business. I'm doing really well. But then immediately getting to convention, realizing, wow, I don't even have a team with me. I really am not anywhere that I could be or should be. And I'm here alone and I'm dealing with all these negative thoughts in my head. And why is that? And I remember taking this picture and just thinking, well, from the outside, everything looks great. Like I'm doing well and successful and we're on our way. But the reality was on the inside, I was dealing with a lot of self-sabotaging thoughts, just really yucky mindset. And it's the honest reason why I did not have a team with me or had built up a team. I was senior Ruby with a few silvers and senior silvers and girls that were motivated, but I was not leading them. I was pushing them to my upline and I was just focusing on building customers, VIP customers and a clientele base. And I love health coaching. So I was just kind of avoiding that. And it was at this convention that forever changed my life with this exact question that Fallon Reeve asked in one of the breakout sessions. And I want you to just take a minute right now to write down what are the self-sabotaging lies that you tell yourself and believe when it comes to your business. So you can go ahead and just write that down right now. One or two thoughts that you are believing and operating in, and you know it's sabotaging you. Okay, so keep that on your paper. We're going to come back to that and we're going to talk about that thought in just a minute. But just the fact that you put that down on paper, you are going to begin breaking the obstacles and you're going to begin breaking strongholds that you don't even realize are literally blocking the next step and the next stage of your success. This is my exact journal entry that I wrote down in June of 2023, right there in Fallon Reeves' breakout session. And for those of you that don't know Fallon, she is like a 7-star diamond in Plexus. And as she was sharing her testimony, talking about all the hurdles and the obstacles that she overcame, and here she's on stage as a 7-star diamond from bankruptcy to divorce of an abusive husband. She was a single mom with like $1 in her bank account, homeschooling 7 kids. And I remember thinking at that moment, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. But we have to start here. And these were the lies, these were the thoughts that I was operating in. And that was the basis of why I was not a leader, why I did not have a team, why I was actually sabotaging growing a team and the success of where I would one day step into because I was forever daily operating in those sabotaging thoughts. What was cool is about a few months later, I was following Brittany Howard on Instagram, who's also another diamond in Plexus, and she was heading out on her Star Diamond yacht trip experience. And she shared her journal entry from when she first got started and how she could not believe that this was her journal entry. And here she's getting on this Star Diamond yacht, but this was her journal entry. Dear Lord, I have a fear that is crippling me that I won't be able to be a leader to people. This is what I wrote in my prayer journal 11 years ago. But tomorrow I go on a privately chartered yacht trip that I earned for being a leader who develops other leaders. And do you see the powerful trend about we're all in this place of a starting position of me being a leader? I don't know if I have what it takes. And even if I think I have what it takes, I'm terrified. And the reality is, it's just a fear for that moment. But the quicker that we step into it and pursue it and educate ourselves, that fear then actually becomes one of your most favorite things to do. It's so funny to me that when I found this journal a few years later, leading my team with Zoom calls and how much I love leading Zoom calls now, God allowed me to see this journal page for a reason, to see the growth that I came from. And I remember looking at that thinking, wow, I felt that way. I don't even remember feeling that way. I don't even remember feeling that way because now I love leading my team. Now I love being a leader and coaching calls with my girls almost even more than I love health coaching. And I never thought that would be a possibility. But the only thing that changed from that journal entry to now passionately loving leading these Zoom calls is the in between that we have to do, that comfort zone that we have to step through. I'd like to visualize it as a pool. We have to get out of that and step into the next body of water that's ahead of us. Oh, so this was less than a year later, and a team was birthed out of faith. I came home from that convention. I remember flying home again, feeling like a big loser, looking at all these teams with their matching shirts and matching hats and thinking, wow, there's Senior Ruby, and look at all these people. Like, I thought I was doing well, not even close. I got on that plane and I remember downloading as many books and podcasts that I could with anything in the title of leadership, becoming a better leader, overcoming fear of leadership, becoming an empowered leader. And I just remember putting my headphones in and saying, okay, God, I'm ready to do this. Here I am. Just I'm a sponge and I'm ready to just soak it in wherever I need to grow. I don't even recall verbatim like this list of XYZ, do XYZ, XYZ to become a leader. All I remember was I had a headphone in one ear at all times, even if I was on the playground with my kids. I had one ear I was listening or cooking. I had one ear out and I had a headphone in my ear 24/7 because I knew there was power in just pouring into me. Even if I wasn't 100% taking notes and jotting down every single page of the book, I was becoming this plant that was not watered, and it was just continually being watered with truth, and truth to overcome the lies that I was believing of how to step into leadership. Now, out of faith, I decided I have to have action, to step out. We can't just stay in the mindset of, okay, I'm going to make a team. This sounds great. I'm going to read the book and now I'm going to stop and just pray for the team to come. We have to have action backed by faith. That is the scariest part. Let me tell you. I remember creating a team name called Team Empower. And I reached out to a few girls on the team that I knew were interested, had the potential. And I said, hey, come and do this with me. I'm going to add you to this team chat. Some weren't even silver yet, but I just said, I think you have what it takes. Come, I'm going to add you to this team chat. I'm going to buy you a team hat that says Team Empower, even if you don't really want to be on our team. I'm just going to add you in here because I'm going to start this team out of faith. Here's what began to happen. Everything that I was doing for myself I was creating this ripple effect, a duplication system into all the girls that were coming onto the team. I was learning how to crush my own self-sabotaging lies and disbelief. And so that was becoming my language that I was now speaking into these girls. Okay, you have the doubt. Here's what I want you to do. Go listen to this podcast and then come back and tell me what you learned. As I was learning, they were learning with me. And every single hurdle that we overcome ends up becoming a textbook that you get to use to then duplicate and teach your team what to do. So, this is why there's power in overcoming your hurdles. If you think about that very first hard step that we all faced, day one of the business, making that post, right? Oh, I don't know if I want to go on social media. I don't know what people are going to think of me. But we did it. We overcame it and it was no big deal. And we quickly are teaching our girls, hey, I can make it easy for you. Make a post. You don't have to do this. Make it easy. Because why? It became easy for us. So now we have a duplicatable system with belief that we can now pass on to our team. This is the same process in our own leadership skills. So you see that every blockage, every self-sabotaging lie that you stay stuck in, you're also keeping your entire team stuck because you, as the leader, set the momentum. When you choose to step out and break that hurdle, you end up creating this duplicatable system that all of your team gets to follow. It's a language that becomes contagious. C2, crushing the crutches. All of the excuses, all of the possible scenarios that could come up. We have an option to become better or bitter. And I know this sounds so cliche, but there's a lot of power behind these pictures that you see and a lot of intense story that not many people know. But the very top picture is my first team that was started and birthed. This is Team Empower. And I would love to sit here and tell you we got to Emerald and everything was amazing and it's been great and it's been smooth sailing and dandy, but that is not the reality. I faced some pretty hard betrayal and some pretty hard rejection in very difficult situations where the reality is I decided, I don't think I can do this anymore. This is too hard. And I sat back for a while and I was ready to just say, okay, I think I got to Emerald and I think I'm good here. I can't deal with the rejection. This is too painful. And then this light bulb moment came up and I heard God saying, "Oh, we just discovered the next layer of the onion that we need to peel back and heal." Wherever we get triggered and wherever we face pain or hurt, rejection, these uncomfortable, yucky feelings, we have the option to run from them and say, okay, I guess I hit my stopping point. We're good here. Or stop and face ourselves in the mirror and say, okay, what is this unveiling? What is this teaching about me? What is this triggering where now I can have the opportunity to face it head on and say, thank you, God, for showing me the next layer that needs healing in me in order for you to trust me to become a leader of leaders, in order for you to trust me to bring more women to my platform and my circle. How can he trust us with more if we aren't faithful with where we are right now? And so it is uncomfortable. It is so painful. But at that moment in November, when my whole first team Empower decided that they were going to launch and fly the nest, I was back at a starting point of ground zero, feeling lonely, rejected, not needed, and like I was starting all over again. But here's what I had in the back of my mind, the playbook from when I first started. And I knew all I have to do is get back up again, rise, become better, not bitter, learn, grow, heal wherever is being triggered, and then action steps with faith. So I remember God saying to me, there's a new team that I'm birthing, and this team of women are going to be in your own backyard. And I remember he said to me, focus on the women in your own backyard. And I kept saying to God, I don't even have girls on my team that like live in this zip code. So I don't really know what you're talking about. I have a few customers, but I don't really know where this is going. So I went through my back office and I started scrolling through all the girls that live in this area. I put them on a group text and I said, hey, let's all go to dinner. I want to create a healthy community in this area of women. And I had no idea where this was going to go. None of these girls even knew each other. I had some 40-year-olds, some 19-year-olds, but we all sat around this table in November of 2024, and I bought a bunch of Bible study books. And I said, you know, let's just start a Bible study together. Let's just create a beautiful community together. I know God's going to do something with this. And it was an interesting dynamic, but I just did it out of faith. I kept building into them. And then I decided, you know what? This is going to be another team. And out of faith, birthed Team Embolden. And before I knew it, this entire team of women were rising up to be so hungry for change for their family financially, a healthy, beautiful, godly community in this area. And little did I realize that this team would be the team to take me to Sapphire. And someone once told me, you know, the team that takes you to Ruby is not going to be the team that takes you to Emerald. The team that takes you to Emerald is not going to be the team that takes you to Diamond. There's going to constantly be revolving doors and constantly be changing. But the goal here and the common denominator is you have to get back up. You have to continue. You cannot take the bait and allow for offense and bitterness, excuses, any yucky, uncomfortable feelings to block you and stop you where you are. Because if they do, that's it. Everything stops, your momentum dies. And if I would have stopped at that moment and taken the bait, this entire team in Bolden would have never been. Just in May, when I hit Sapphire, one of the first girls who started with me on Team Embolden in November also hit Emerald with me in Sapphire. And barely a year in, I just kept thinking, imagine if I would have never got back up again, where all of this would have just been stuck in the mud. Okay, C3 is our comfort zones. Growth can never happen in our comfort zones. I like to have this visual of these pools, and this was just the closest visual that I could come up with when I think of comfort zones in my head, and like these layers of different pools that lead us to the next stage of elevation. But the pool that you are in right now is not where you can grow. You have been there for too long. You have to get out. And just like any body of water, it begins to feel warm and comfortable. And you know the body of water up ahead is colder and it's going to feel uncomfortable to get out in your bathing suit and go up those stairs and go to the next pool, and you just don't want to do it. But those steps are what lead you to that growth. God cannot trust us as a leader if we never step out of our comfort zone and face those difficult situations or the yucky feelings that we might be avoiding, because that's where the growth happens. What makes you cringe today? You will literally be making PowerPoints on one day, teaching on, if you allow it. Because I can assure you and promise you, like not 2.5 years ago, I would have cringed at the thought of even being on a call like this, leading even my own team that I didn't even have at the moment, let alone someone else's team. But now I love it. I love it. It invigorates me because I see the power of it. I love seeing a community come together, but that would have never happened if I stayed in my own pool of, I don't like leadership. Not for me. I'm going to just stay in my area of recruiting. I like that. I'm going to avoid that. The growth would have never happened. Your uncomfort zones, as I like to call them, are going to change as you master them. That's another big hurdle that we get stuck in as leaders. We think, okay, even as diamond, okay, we made it to the top as a diamond, we're good. No, even as a diamond, you still have many uncomfortable zones, uncomfortable, colder pools of water that you need to get in to continue growing. And as you get out quicker and step into them quicker, that's how you scale the mountain of success. The quicker you get out and into that next pool, the quicker you grow. So here is a really powerful visual of what comfort zones look like. They feel comfortable, they feel familiar. This is where we feel safe and in control. But look at the two blockages between comfort and growth. It's first the fear zone and then the learning zone. And what you might notice is there's just one area of fear zone. The moment that you sprint through that fear zone and into the learning zone, you are already so much closer to growth. You are already so much closer to conquering that objective, finding your purpose, creating value in your life. And when we can look at this visual, it helps us to see the fear zone is not the whole way. You're not in the fear zone the entire way before you reach growth. It's a momentary window, and we have to almost talk ourselves off the ledge. Okay, C4, this is a big, big, big thing I talk about a lot, casting visions. Now, I have this picture here because it was pretty funny to me, the power of our mind and the power of your visions, speaking them out loud, screenshotting them, writing them down, creating a vision board. This was a screenshot of a team that I remember taking this picture when I was on the Leaders Retreat cruise in November. Again, still no team with me. And I remember seeing this team picture thinking, I want that. That's my goal. I would love that. That is what I'm aspiring to be a leader like. Forgetting about that screenshot completely and just focusing on my goals. Well, just a few months later, I was looking through my pictures when I had my first team down here in Florida for a retreat, realizing, oh my gosh, there's my team. And here we are on the beach in our cute little cover-ups and our matching hats, realizing at that moment how full circle it was beginning to come. And it started with the vision and the mindset, and then walking in the steps to achieve that. Your words spoken set things into motion. What are you speaking over yourself daily? What are you speaking out loud? Because there is so much more power in that than you realize. Not words of jealousy like, ugh, I'll never have that, or ugh, I wish I could have that, but no, no fair, poor me, victimhood. No, words of, wow, I would love to be a leader like that. I'm not there yet, but I'm going to be there one day. And before you know it, you are creating the steps where you're walking into that. I studied the term abracadabra, which we all know that phrase, but it's actually a Hebrew phrase. And there's actual biblical truth to this phrase because abra means words and kadabra means create. So if you think about that, there is so much more power than you realize in the words that you are constantly speaking out loud over yourself, over your business, over your future. Your words have the power to create the life that you want, the business that you want, the team that you envision. It starts with a thought, and your thoughts are what become your communication. We all know those people that are just constantly negative, constantly negative. Well, more than likely, it's a negative mind space that they're operating from. So if your words are negative, go back to the root. Take captive of your thoughts. Begin to transform your thoughts where even if you have to write down all your thoughts that you wish were in your head until that was happening, until you see this makeover, start writing down your negative thoughts, crossing them out, and then writing the exact opposite underneath from who you think you are as a mom, a wife, your business leader, everything. Because then your words create action, your actions create a habit, and then create this lifestyle. Your goals and your visions should scare you. That you should be speaking them aloud with authority, though. I will be diamond. Not I hope to be diamond. I will be diamond. And your actions will then start creating a lifestyle where you are doing the steps to walk in that direction. C5 is continuous self-development, another big one. Constantly podcasts. They are always playing in my car or on my phone with my headphones in, whether I'm in car line, a red light, cooking dinner. I'm constantly looking for a new good podcast because for me, that's the easiest way to be transforming my thought life. Whether it's on Spotify or the actual podcast app, all you have to do is type in whatever area you want to grow. I remember just typing in for months at a time, how to become an impactful leader in network marketing, how to overcome fear in network marketing, and anything that would come up, whether it was 20 minutes, 3 minutes, okay, let's listen to this. Let's just constantly keep the filter going into my mind of growing and learning how to get to that next stage. My favorite books have been by John Maxwell, the leadership books. One of the biggest things he talks about is in order to become a leader worth following, it's so important to build value into people around you, speaking value, seeing their value before they even see it for themselves. You end up creating an influence where people are attracted to you, not because they have to lead and follow your leader because you're their upline, but because they want to. Dr. Caroline Leaf writes a whole book and has a whole podcast called Cleaning Up the Mental Mess. She is a brain scientist, but she probably changed my life the most when it comes to thought life that is empowering versus thought life that's sabotaging. She has a lot of leadership podcasts that are also great. Instagram accounts. Clean up your Instagram. If you are not following anyone that is motivating you to grow, motivating you to be better, inspiring you, mute them, unfollow them. Clean up your social media where you are hopping on and being inspired every day, or people are using the platform to look at you and learn from you. Clean up your area where you're not being sabotaged with what you're looking at, what you're listening to. There's just so much power in that. These are a few Facebook groups with the like just pre-made accounts, things to make life easier for your leadership. You can screenshot that later. Okay, these are my actual journal pages about just continuing to learn, continuing to grow, continuing to show up. There are going to be many, many seasons where you just don't feel like it. You don't feel like showing up. You don't feel like listening to the podcast. You don't feel like reading a book or feel like making a post. If we ran our business every day based on our feelings, we would not go anywhere. We have to get into a mindset where we can tell ourselves, it's okay if I don't feel like doing it today. I just have to continue. It's okay if I tell myself this month might be a little bit slower, or this month I'm going to spend a little bit more time with my family. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to continue to show up and continue keeping that positive mindset. So these are my actual journal entries. December 11th, 2023, I wrote down in my journal, thank you, Jesus, that by July 2024, I will be emerald. And there was power in that declaration. That was scary to write down. I was just beginning to build a team, but I was learning the power of writing down our goals with I will, not I hope, but I will. Can you guess when I hit Emerald? July 2024. And there was no mistake to that. But what I didn't realize was those were the steps that were created. And it started back in December, not June, the month before. It started back in December of getting my mindset healthy. In Maui at the Emerald Extravaganza, I remember writing down on the dream board, I will bring 5 new jewels to to the Emerald Extravaganza Alaskan cruise, and I will be Sapphire by the next Emerald Alaskan cruise. Well, both of those have come to fruition. I will have 5 jewels with me on the Alaskan cruise in December, and I will be going as a Sapphire with my husband as a Sapphire. And I did not just write this down with like, oh, name it and claim it. I'm not saying that at all because I don't believe in that. What I'm showing is there's so much power in writing down your goals with a deadline, not just keeping them up here as a wishful hope, but writing them down with a deadline. Tell your team, get them a part of it. Why? Because then you keep yourself accountable. And then it becomes a lot more scary when everyone knows that you wrote down on paper that you are going to be Sapphire by May of May 31st. This was my most recent goal that I wrote down. And God told me, well, you preach about this, so make it happen. Be even scarier. He told me, post it on Instagram. Post it on Instagram that you are going to be Sapphire. And do you see that small, tiny little 2 in the bottom corner? Because I was even scared to write that. I was even scared to say double Sapphire because I'm like, oh, that might be pushing it a little bit, but let's just write it on stage. And I put it on social media. But do you know what that did for me? It kept me accountable. On days that I didn't feel like showing up, I now had a huge accountability. My entire team watching their leader, all of these people not only rooting for me, but watching, oh, is she going to do it? It's a lot scarier, but it keeps you accountable. Okay, C6, connection and community. Connection is so, so important. They say that we have 3 different categories of people that will join our team or come into our sphere of influence. Some for the products, some for the financial opportunity, but the third category of people are coming just for the community that you have created. I cannot tell you how many people this past year have joined my team just because they see the pictures of the sisterhood that we have, just because they see this beautiful place that they could have the potential of feeling belonging and feeling worth. They didn't come for the products and they didn't come for the financial opportunity. They reached out with their very first opening sentence, I need a community like you have. So that tells us the power of making sure that we are creating a beautiful community. We all, I'm sure, do a really good job promoting the products. That's really easy. And even maybe promoting the financial freedom, which is a little bit harder, but are you creating a community where people look and see, oh, I have four different plexus leaders in my circle of influence, and I want to hit follow under this one. I want to hit join under this one because I know community that's going to come with that team, with that leader. Connecting and learning from not only other Plexus leaders, it doesn't have to just be your upline. Find a Plexus diamond that when you watch some of their videos on YouTube and you hear the way they talk, you immediately think, this sounds like me. This sounds exactly like how I would talk and lead when I'm a diamond. And then watch all their training videos, get to know them, get to connect with them on social media. For me, that was Fallon. And I connected with her through social media. And then I got to tell her my testimony this convention 2025 and just how much she changed my life and how her language and her testimony of overcoming the funk is what became my inner voice of overcoming the funk. So it doesn't have to be your upline, but find people where you are inspired by them. Your sideline sisters, create events with them. Even if you have to fake your community for a while, fake it until you make it. I remember not having a team at all, but thinking I need to start creating some type of a community. So I connected. Here's a picture with me and one of my sideline sisters on the first cruise when I didn't have a team at all. But you better believe I connected with her and I was like, let's do a photo shoot together. Let's make fun videos. Let's connect our influence. And I had to step out in some first step of faith until eventually I had my own team. And here is my team at convention, one of my teams at convention 2025, where it was the first time I was seeing just a full circle moment come to fruition of everything that I dreamed of and one day was praying for, now living in reality. Feeling alone is one of the biggest reasons why people quit. So create a community where they don't want to fail. They don't want to fail their business because they don't want to lose you. They don't want to lose the community. They want to invite their friends, their mom, everyone into their team because that's how beautiful and healthy the community is. There's such power in that. And the last C is your communication, communication with no words. So the statistic I love says 90% of all communication occurs through body language and how you carry yourself. Before even one word comes out of your mouth, you already have a message that you bring into your social media platform, into every room that you walk in, into how you show up. Many times I will tell my girls, my teammates who tell me, I'm posting all the right things, I'm getting no traction, no engagement, and I'll get them on a Zoom call and I'll look at them in the eyes and I will say, do you believe that you can do this? Do you believe in yourself? And they might look to the left and say, I think so. I guess I kind of, I hope. And I said, well, right there, that energy is being communicated way louder than any of your beautiful graphics. You have already communicated a message on your social media platform that says, I really don't want you to ask me about this. I really don't even feel confident in myself. So, and that energy is more powerful than anything. So that's why it goes back to step number one. We have to do the work on ourselves first to create this confident communication. We believe in the products. We believe that we are a leader worth following, that we are a leader who has so much potential to offer people, and that we have this community and this business that can change so many people's lives. If you have to practice even talking to yourself in the mirror like that for a while, do that because there's so much power in that. But also just being authentically you. As Plexus begins to get bigger and bigger and grow, what is going to set you apart from any other Plexus ambassador on social media? Is it just another pink drink slide, or is it something that you have branded about yourself that is so much bigger than Plexus? Find what makes you unique, your niche, your talents, your testimony. Every single one of you has a story of struggle, of obstacles, of health testimonies that you've overcome, of talents. Like step into that so full force and then attach Plexus to it because you are a gift in and of itself. And Plexus is just the bow on top of it. But you are a gift that God wants to offer to so many people. And so often we water ourselves down and we just promote the products like this, but we're hiding who we really are and the talents and the gifts that God has birthed inside of you. And that is what's going to make you a diamond when you can learn how to beautifully blend them both and say, yes, I am a Plexus brand ambassador, but I am a health coach. I am a master at mold remediation and mold detoxing. I am an empowerment leader coach. Think of all the other things that you have to offer with Plexus and beautifully merge and brand that together. And then start creating your content to look so much different than just every other Plexus brand ambassador. I love this quote by Zig Ziglar. You were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win. You must prepare to win and then expect to win. Those are the crucial steps. And lastly, whether it's your customers or your team, you set the tone. You set the tone for the excitement, for the growth, for their outcome and their results as customers. You also set the tone for the heartbeat and the culture of your community, of your team. So if we don't have the belief, if we don't have the confident mindset, how can we expect our customers to have confident results? How can we expect our team to confidently face their scary goals in the mirror and say, I can do this? Because you have to first do it and conquer it so that when you have that customer or that teammate coming to you and saying, okay, I want to go Ruby this month, but I'm so scared. I don't know how to do it. You're going to say, I am going to help you. And you're going to walk them through all the steps that you did to overcome the self-sabotaging thoughts, write down those goals with a deadline, get that accountability, and walk in the success before it even happens. Speak it out loud. Believe it before it even happens. And how that looks is start preparing for it. I remember I went on Etsy and I got 13 hats made that said Team Empower before I even had 13 girls on my team. But I did it out of faith because it was scary, but I was preparing for it. When you begin to prepare for it before it's even here, it begins to grow. Just like a pregnant woman preparing for that baby to come, you know it's going to happen. So you're preparing for it before you even baby because the expectation and the belief is already so rock solid. That is how we have to treat our business. Believe that you are a natural leader with I missed it. we believe that you are a natural leader with so much to offer and teach others, and that's exactly who you will become. Okay, I'm gonna X out of that. Oh, there we go. I know that was a lot of talking, but I just wanted to open it up if anyone has any questions or any comments or just any struggles. I would love to help give some pointers or tips before the time is over.
Kaitlin, that was incredible. I am blown away. I'm
Oh,
so grateful for all that you shared. I have a front and back page of notes,
oh,
and it is just, I feel like you were speaking from your heart, and it like pinpointed so many things that I think all of us can really take away and challenge ourselves to grow in certain areas, to uncover those things that we avoid and hide behind, and the things that the stories that we tell ourselves and what's sabotaging us, right? And keeping us in our comfort zones and keeping us
yeah.
from breakthroughs and building this beautiful team and culture that you've so vulnerably shown us the whole process of like the ups and downs of it. And it's just such an encouragement.
Oh.
And we're so grateful for you and these stories. I would love for anyone else to chime in with like your takeaway or a question you might have for her before we hop off.
Oh,
I do have a quick question.
yeah.
Hello, Caitlin. So my question
Yeah.
is on, and with that group that you got together, the local girls, my understanding is they weren't even customers, right? Like they're just girls that you knew that were highly influential, that you liked being with. You got them together, and then you guys just kind of like, is that right? And then you cast the vision. Kind of walk through that real quick.
Yeah. So there were about two or three that were customers, and there was one who had not yet joined, but she was really, really high up in another network marketing, and I could tell she was kind of starting to look for something new. And then there were two or three other girls that had mentioned comments before seeing pictures of my team like, oh, I love that community. I would love, up to be a part of something like that. Or if you ever start a Bible study, let me know. I would love to be a part of it. And so when I got that group together, the funny thing is I didn't even talk about Plexus at all that night. And I was in such a low, broken place that truly just getting myself together, I was like, I don't even know how I did this or how I got there, that I couldn't even really talk about Plexus, but God knew that is exactly what this community needed. And I wanted to just get a beautiful, healthy community together. And I told all of these girls, where I live, there's a big culture of just wealth and vanity and a big stigma of women like don't need to work because an idea and a picture of success is, a stay-at-home mom with a nanny and driving the Range Rover and, your tennis club membership. And, if you have to work, like you clearly aren't doing well. And so I sat them down and I said, I want to create a new stigma. And I actually had hats made for that dinner too. And I wrote, make Palm Beach healthy again. And I just told them, let's just create a healthy, beautiful community of women that cheer each other on, that are successful in business with stay at home, whatever. We can rewrite the script. Let's just create a healthy community. And I bought these 30-day devotional journals. And I just said, let's all do this 30-day activity and journal together. We're going to keep each other accountable. And we would talk about our daily entries. And before I knew it, it just created, again, another community where people all around us were contagious and hungry for, oh, what are you doing? Because the reality is people are lonely and they want something that they can feel that belonging to. And so that's why I just think it's so important to create a healthy community and a beautiful team, even if you don't have the team yet. That is the biggest thing that I realized. Don't wait until you have 8 or 9 silvers and senior silvers and they seem okay, eager and hungry. Now I have, no, it's not going to happen when everything's all laid out perfectly. It happens when you step out in faith and do those scary steps first and create this table with 13 empty seats and just show up prepared a beautiful dinner and just say, okay, they're going to come and watch them all begin to come. It's so scary and it's nerve-wracking, but it begins to grow. In fact, that was my first Zoom call when I came home from convention. I'd never led a Zoom call. And I said, okay, I need to start doing this. So I messaged those, first 3 or 4 girls I put in the team chat and I said, I'm going to do my first Zoom call. Hop on here. I had this whole thing laid out and I get on and I wait and I wait and I wait and no one shows up. And it was so close for me to just be like, I knew it. But I heard God say, do it anyways and hit record and talk to the screen as if there are 20 girls on the other side that need to hear this message. And so it was so scary and it was so awkward, but I did not take the bait to give in. I hit record and I led that first Zoom call by myself to myself. And that recording link I ended up sending out to the girls, and it ended up beginning to grow this team. We ended up having weekly Zoom calls, and I know it was a test. I know it was such a test from the Lord. Okay, you did the work, and it was also an opportunity to take the bait of just hearing Satan be like, see, 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 failure, fail. And I didn't take the bait and just pushed through. And so I think that's been the biggest thing for me that I've seen is prepare the table, prepare the dinner, get your seats ready, and expect the dinner with all the company to come before they even come. Because before you know it, you're going to lift your head and you're going to look up and see this table filled with this beautiful team because you never gave up and you kept believing and casting that vision for yourself, even when it felt very scary.
I love that so much. I love I love that you just gave that example again on just like doing it anyway and
Yes,
doing it scared,
yes,
overcome like holding back, choosing the thought of like not believing you're a failure and like choosing to believe that like I am going to show up as a leader. I
yeah,
am doing this anyways
yeah.
and it has served you so well and like it's just leveled up your whole life. You pushed through comfort zones of where you were sitting. Holly says you need your own podcast. Like here
You're
you are,
so
you
sweet.
did a Zoom for yourself and now like go do a podcast. Like
That's so
it's
funny.
so amazing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
well, I know that it's getting late your time and you have spent
Yeah.
so much time with us and we're so grateful. We just soaked it all in
Oh.
and we appreciate it so
Oh,
much. So
thank you guys so much for having me on. I know I didn't get to talk about just building like a dual income home, but I can, if anyone wants to message me and I can chat more about that, you can find me on social media. Just why I chose to build me and then build my husband underneath me and get us both to Sapphire. It is one thing I talk and train some of my girls to do, but not until they hit gold. But I'm happy to just talk about what that looks like and why I did that and how I did that if anyone is curious or interested.
okay, that's awesome. We appreciate that.
Thanks for having
Well,
me on, guys.
yes, yes. Have a good night. For our
Have a good
team, I'm
night.
gonna like go over our August happenings super quick, and then we're all gonna let you go because I know it's late. But we Just want to make sure that you guys saw that we are planning a month of training for back to the basics. This week is going to have a focus of recruiting, then we're going to have a focus of retention, duplication, and leadership. And so let's all go back again to what is going to propel us forward, these basic skills that we need to show up as the CEO of our business and grow something here. And I think it's going to parallel so well with what Kaitlin just talked about. And we will have power hours every Wednesday this month. And then we're going to do a coaching call / power hour on every Friday. So the times and all of that is on our calendar in Rising Jewels. This is our last month to earn our fall retreat. And then it's also, we are like smack dab in the middle of our icon. We want to be founding members with that. It comes with so many advantages and perks, and just really like that is such a foundation of a growing momentum business, healthy, like all those things that we're hoping for. So hop into that icon chat. If you're not, I put out everyone's names that are in there. We have like 44 people. You don't want to miss out because it's going to be high energy. We are going to hold each other accountable with being in touch with just lots of conversations. So we're hoping that produces a lot of fruit for each of us. And then I think that's it. Am I missing anything, Emily, that you can think of? I didn't bring up my PowerPoint because we want to be done.
No, and just to piggyback real quick off of the icon thing, it's all about connection. So I've had some people say, hey, the social media aspect's really stressing me out. I'm in a really hard place right now in my life. Like I don't feel comfortable, really doing a whole lot on social media. That's not what this icon club is about. Like this icon club is about holding one another accountable and having fun and connecting. Because if you remember that Eric wore I think it was week 1, right, where he gave us that homework of just connecting with 100 people. And so many of you came back that next week to accountability group saying it was really fun. Like I enjoyed showing up again because you're seeing people. You're not necessarily talking plexus unless you want to. This is you just seeing people, loving people, caring for people. So it's again, like just kind of like reclaiming your joy in this business that is all about relationships. And the last thing is one of the things that he said last week that really stood out in his final training was conversations are business. And so that's what this is all about, just for us to enjoy connecting and seeing and loving people. No angles to it, no motives, like just loving people and kind of getting back into that relationship, thriving thing. So that's all. There's no incentive from Plexus this month. But that doesn't mean anything. I signed up with 0 incentive because I saw the value of the product. So just make sure that you're rebuilding your belief if you're kind of low right now and how important and impactful these products are. So that way you can show up to your business passionate with full energy, just like she was talking about. That's all I have, Han.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks for being on.